Rashad Coulter joins me now as he gets ready to face Viddal Riley November 28th in a boxing bout that's a part of the Mike Tyson and Roy Jones Jr. event. Rashad, how are you?
I'm doing great, bro. Thank you very much for having me on the show.
Hey, it's my pleasure, and I'm excited to talk to you, man. Obviously, this is a fantastic event. The eyes of combat sports in general are going to be on this event, and you're facing an up-and-coming guy, Viddal Riley. Before we dive into all of that, I do want to talk just about how this camp has been, and the differences as far as training MMA versus just boxing for you here for this fight.
Yeah, man. Camp has been going good. I got a great coach, man, Nathan Pipitone. He's been keeping me on my toes. And for me, man, the transition from MMA to boxing is really not that hard. I mean, I love standing up. And like I said, I've had boxing fights in the past. So it's not that hard, man. There's just a few less things to worry about. No kicks, no takedowns, none of that.
Well, I got to say, too, I mean, you've been at this, MMA for a while now. And if I'm not mistaken, you're going to be 39 years old the day before this fight actually happens. So, I mean, it must be kind of just a little bit easier for you not to have to deal with the grind of wrestling and jiu-jitsu and all the other disciplines that you have to practice. You can just focus on one thing.
It's a stress relief, but also at the same time, man, it's a totally different type of cardio. I mean, wrestling cardio and jiu-jitsu cardio is hard, but I've always been impressed with boxing cardio because boxers, they're able to punch with the same speed, the same power, the same output in round one as they do round 12. But, man, you got to get on your cardio because it's being in punch shape and fight shape is totally different than just thinking there's going to be a cakewalk because I'm not wrestling. So trust me, I've been doing a lot of punch cardio, a lot of been doing rounds, more rounds than what my fight is, trying to get used to the high punch output in boxing.
For sure. Now, your last fight was in December of 2019. You dropped a loss there to Ike Villanueva. Tell me, where is your, I guess, head at right now with your MMA career? Are you hoping to really keep that going and maybe make another run at the UFC? Like, where are you at right now with that?
100%, man. My mind is always open to whoever's gonna pay me to fight. Like, I love MMA. Like, my heart is MMA because of the brutality. I can hit you once you hit the ground. I can jump on you until the ref comes and stops it. But for the Ike Villanueva fight, man, I had a lot of underlying issues going on that I won't really get into right now. But that's a fight that I should have won. And hopefully, with this fight, it opens up more doors. Let it be for boxing or let it be for me getting more fights in MMA. And that's kind of like the problem that I ran into now is I've been trying to fight MMA, but I can't get any MMA fights at all, and I'm trying to stay at 205 in MMA. And I think I got one fight offer for heavyweight, but then that show got canceled. So, man, it's just, I'm ready to go whatever door opens, man. I don't have all the wear and tear on my body. I haven't been fighting. Like I heard of Viddal say in our interviews, I mean, I've been doing this since I was a little boy, like 2 years old, and I don't have all that wear and tear on my body, even though he's younger than me. But I didn't start training, and I didn't have my first fight until I was 30 years old. I walked into the gym at the age 28, had 29 years old, and I had my first fight at the age of 30. So I'm in great shape, man. It takes you about 10 years to get this fight thing down. And right now, I feel like I'm just hitting my stride. I'm training smarter. I got a great nutritionist who works with a lot of the UFC guys, Eric Pena. So I'm doing it all the right way, man. I'm in shape. I'm ready to go, and I'm looking forward to it.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, too, your 39th birthday will be the day before the fight. You and me are just about the same age. You say, your body feels really healthy right now. And although some people feel like when you get close to 40, maybe it's time to, retire from combat sports. Do you feel like, you have another 5, maybe even 10 years left? I mean, look at Mike Tyson and Roy Jones. They're coming back in their 50s.
Yeah, most definitely not 10 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't want to be like Anderson Silva and fight till I'm like 45 years old. it makes sense. You know, like for me, like whatever path I choose to go down, like after this fight, I want to stay busy. I want to stay busy. I want to stay active. If it's up to me, I'll fight every 2 months, every 2 to 3 months. It's just the point of staying busy. Um, but I know like here before soon, like 3 years, 4 years, the fight game, I'm done with it. You know, I just want fights that make sense, entertaining fights, and I want to get paid. Um, for my fights that I have coming up because I don't have that much longer to fight. But man, look, whatever door opens, if it's boxing, hey, I'll go boxing. If it's MMA, I'm gonna go MMA. I'm gonna go with whoever wants to put me on their show and pay me my word.
How has the pandemic affected you as far as training goes and just in general, your day-to-day life? I know it's been a little bit different for everyone. What has it been like for you?
For me, man, it's been good to be honest. The isolation, and once you're in isolation, you get a lot of opportunity to reflect on yourself, reflect on life, and start pruning things and nipping things out of your life that didn't serve you any purpose. And for me, man, like the pandemic has been good. The layoff from all the gyms have been great. I didn't get the opportunity to stay fully active during the pandemic because all the gyms shut down. And then, like, since I'm not in the UFC no more, most of all the UFC guys who had fights coming up or who were still trying, they were the ones that were still actively training. But for me, it did great because my entire UFC career, except for my last fight, I took every single fight hurt, injured. So I went into every single fight in the UFC injured. So for me, the pandemic and the time off, it really helped me rejuvenate some injuries, and it just gave my body time to recover because going hard every single day, punching, kicking, kneeing, that takes a toll on your body. And the layoff, man, it did me great, man. So it did a good job for me.
Now you've seen this, for so many different UFC fight cards. Now there's a lot of short notice replacement fighters, a lot of people that test positive for COVID or injured or whatever reason. So are you disappointed that you didn't get a call to step back in and get another crack there at the UFC?
No, I'm not disappointed because I understand I lost my last MMA fight, and I can't be disappointed at myself not performing when I had the opportunity to, regardless of what I had going on going into the fight. Um, that doesn't matter. I didn't do what I was supposed to do, and I don't expect to hand me out. Only thing I want is for somebody to take the fight. I want somebody to accept the fight in MMA or by whatever. Like Viddal did in boxing. What I appreciate that. I'm thankful for that opportunity because man, I wasn't fighting, and all I wanted to do was fight. But I assure you, after this fight, and hopefully the doors are going to be open, and people are going to see like, hey man, like you know what, this dude actually does have what it takes. And yeah, I mean, if the UFC door opens again, man, I'm going head first. I love the UFC. I love that's like the NFL of fighting, right? Or like for boxing, it's like the NFL be like any of these major promotions. So I'm looking forward to it, man. Hopefully it open up more doors. If it doesn't, I'm okay with that.
Now, there's been a lot of discussions about, who the greatest, athlete of all time is, whether it's the NBA and you got Michael Jordan and LeBron James and, Khabib just retired at 29-0. And so there's been so many discussions about that. When you look at the combat sport GOATs, whether it's MMA or boxing, who comes to mind for you? And what does it mean to you to be on the main card of a Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr. fight? Because for someone that's a combat sports lover and a competitor like yourself, I got to imagine it's pretty special.
It is, man. And I have a hard time with the greatest of all time in any kind of sport, man, because I like for myself, I don't even have like a favorite team. I'm just a fan of greatness. And for me, like, man, like the GOAT for me would be people like Muhammad Ali, because he went against the grain and like Khabib, who just retired. Khabib is who he says he is, and a GOAT for me is a person that for one can go into the battlefield, the octagon of the ring and perform and win and be dominant and also outside the ring or outside the cage just be a wonderful person. And so like I mean there's several goats. Like for me, look, like I think there's goats in each weight class, like Demetrius Johnson at 125, Khabib at 155, John Jones at 205. You know what I'm saying? So the list goes on and on. I just like excitement. I just like brutality. I just love entertainment. So if you're a fighter that goes out there and you lay it out on the line, win, lose, or draw, you go out there and fight the best, I love to watch you.
Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, Tyson and Roy Jones Jr., the main event, getting a lot of attention. Who wins? Who do you think gets their hand raised here in this fight?
Man, look, I love both of them. I really don't want either one of them to lose. Um, at first, you can never count out Mike Tyson's power. Once he gets in there, like they say it's an exhibition, but Mike Tyson, man, Mike Tyson gonna try to take your head off. And Roy Jones, I just watch Roy Jones, and I see a speed advantage. So it's kind of gonna be like who's gonna be able to implement who's playing first. But I just hope that they fight to a draw because I love both of them equally, man.
If they were in their prime and you have to pick one, who would you go with?
Man, to be honest, I would have to say Roy Jones because Roy Jones is so slick. Like he's so slick. So he knows how to deal with people. He knows how to deal with power. He knows how to deal with people that can move, that can actually box. Mike Tyson is one way. I'm smashing the gas. It's like either you're gonna get out the way or you're gonna get ran over. And I think in their prime, as long as Roy Jones didn't get hit, because Mike Tyson got that life-changing power. I think I give Roy Jones the slightest edge because of his movement and his defense.
Okay. Well, I'm not mad at that. Either one of these guys, I mean, they're both legends. So whoever you pick, you can't go wrong there. Now, I got to admit, too, I'm a huge basketball fan, and the co-main event is Nate Robinson and Jake Paul. So, I mean, I don't know. I've never seen either of these guys box, but I hear that they both have their skill set. Are you leaning one way or another for that one?
Man, personally, man, I hope Nate Robinson wins it. I had a chance to speak with him and talk to him, and he just seems like a genuine person, just like a nice human being. And we know a lot of people in the same circle. He also took the time out, man, to call my nephew, and he's like, "Hey, man, call you because nephew ain't gonna believe that you talked to me." And the Jake Paul, man, just a disrespect, man. Like the way he talks, the way he's just a disrespectful person. Like I don't get down with that personally in life or even in combat sports. I always respect my opponents. I never talk down to my opponents. I don't talk bad about anybody. And for me, that's the determining factor between those two is because Nate Robinson is more of a down to earth, not so trash talk. So I'm gonna go with Nate Robinson.
Yeah, I'm with you there too. I'm a Boston Celtics fan, and Nate was my guy. I was a huge fan of him when he was on our team. So I'm hoping he gets in there and gets a finish. Now, this matchup with Viddal Riley, he doesn't have the experience that you have. He's 3-0, I believe, as a professional boxer. When you look at his skill set versus what you bring to the table, what are you expecting to happen here come fight night?
Just being completely transparent. I know I respect his credentials. I know he knows how to box. But this is a fight, man. You know what I'm saying? And anybody that's ever watched any of my fights, I don't start fighting until I get hit. And then once I get just something that's in me, though. So once I get hit, everything else goes out the window. It turns into a dog fight or who got more heart. And I just see this fight playing out. I mean, of course he's gonna come out. He's gonna try to box. He's gonna try to keep his distance, and that might play out well for him for like the first round or the first 2 rounds. But man, it's different, man, when you hit somebody and with everything that you have and they're still there. That takes a mental toll on people, and I don't think he's been hit by somebody that's gonna hit him as hard as I've been hit, and I don't think he's fought somebody that is going to take everything that he has, smile, and keep coming forward and hit him harder. So, I mean, that's what I'm anxious to see. I'm anxious to test him, man, just to see if his heart is as big as my heart.
Do you feel like you could get a finish here and maybe knock him out?
100%. I always feel like I can finish anybody that I fight. That's a no question. If I touch you, you're going to sleep. I just have that power. But at the end of the day, if it doesn't, if I don't, I'm not gonna go look for the finish. But I have visualized myself hitting him with a shot that I don't see him recovering from. And I'm not saying that I'm not saying that the shot's gonna knock him out completely. But what I'm saying is I see myself hitting him with a shot that's really gonna hurt him. And then he's never gonna be able to recover from that shot that I land. That's just my personal opinion and the way I see the fight playing out.
If you could have anything happen for you next, if you get this win and you stay healthy, what are you hoping, or when are you hoping you can step back in, whether it's boxing or MMA? Are you trying to stay as active as possible, or do you want to have a full camp regardless of when your next fight is?
100%, man. I want to stay more active. If somebody called me, man, listen, if they call me and say, hey, Rashad, you know what? We want you to fight on EJ's card out here in Texas. You know, I'm here in Texas, and EJ is my boy. I get on the EJ card December 5th. You know, I feel like for me, when I have long, drawn-out training camps as a fighter, because I know how hard I go and I know how hard my gym is, I tend to get hurt the longer my training camps are. So the shorter, like anywhere from like 4 to 6 weeks, man, I'm good. Like I don't even need that much time if I've been training. Like I'm prepared for this fight. I've been training. So I'm ready to go. Next week, 2 weeks, every month, call me, man. If I'm healthy, call me.
Well, very well said. I can't wait for this this whole event. Again, November the 28th, Rashad Coulter and Viddal Riley on the main card of the Mike Tyson, Roy Jones Jr. boxing event. You do not want to miss it. I very much appreciate you giving me the time here today. Before I let you go, if there's any social media you'd like to plug or any sponsors that you may have, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Ryan. Yeah, man, I just want to appreciate you guys for having me on the show. Man, it means the world to me. You know, I want to thank my sponsors, Vital Proteins. They've been solid for me for this fight camp. The Hemp Pimp, they're another sponsor. My coach, Nathan Pipitone. Man, he's one of the greatest coaches out there, man. One of the greatest human beings that I know. All my family, man, back home, North Carolina, here in Dallas, Texas. It's going down November 28th, man. And I just want people to understand that I'm grateful for this opportunity. I'm happy to be on this card. I'm back. We're fighting, and we're coming home with a victory, baby.